Hello, I'm Robin Gibson, and this is the Harvard House Money Morsel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell so you get a notification if we release a new video. I'm sitting today again with Michael Porter. Hello, Michael.
Morning, Robin.
It's nice to be back. We've been traveling around the country, but both of us haven't we?
We have. It's always nice to be back.
Yes, it is. So, Michael, obviously yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we had the Reserve Bank increased rates. That was kind of well telegraphed, but no less disappointing, I guess, for consumers. What's the background into that? Obviously, we get a little bit more in terms of what's released. Was it a close call, or were they unanimous? Or
no, it certainly wasn't unanimous. In fact, there was actually quite a lot of dissent. Some people voted for 25 basis point hike. There were 2 votes for no hike. There was a discussion about a 50 basis point hike, which would have been, I suppose, a real shot across the bow. In the end, they opted for 25, which was exactly what the market was anticipating. And yes, Robin, I mean, it's disappointing from the point of view that at the start of the year, we were probably looking for 2 to 3 interest rate cuts over the course of this year to cement the cyclical recovery that was sort of unfolding in SA. And now we've had an interest rate hike, and all because Donald Trump has an ego. Maybe that's unfair. But so the Reserve Bank probably didn't have much option. Obviously, inflation's coming through, and we can see what's happening in petrol prices. So they probably didn't have much option. I think the focus then really shifts. Maybe the outcome of the statement wasn't as hawkish as people anticipated. And so whether we have another hike in July at the next meeting or not, I think is going to very much depend on what happens in the next sort of 6 weeks in terms of the war. I mean, obviously there's some positive developments at the moment going on. So
see, they sort of get the bare bones of a 60-day ceasefire to hammer out the details. The oil price liked that, didn't it?
Yeah, the oil price is back at sort of $92, $93 a barrel. The rand is back sort of below 22 to the pound. 16.20 to the dollar. I mean, I think it probably hit 15.80, 15.90 at its strongest point, earlier in the year. So the rand has been really well behaved. And just looking at petrol prices, Robin, obviously petrol prices will go up next week or will adjust next week. There's a 30. Is
that the levy coming back in, the tax coming back in?
Well, it obviously always adjusts on the first Wednesday.
Yeah.
So from a petrol price point of view, there's an over recovery on petrol prices of about 35 cents a litre.
Okay.
Taxes are about $4.15 a litre. So we're going to. So if they write back half the tax, let's call it $2.10.
Yeah.
Minus 35 cents. Petrol prices are still going to go up by somewhere between R1.70 and R1.80 a litre, maybe somewhere around there, possibly. That would be my guess. On the other hand, diesel prices, the over recovery is around about R5 a litre.
Okay.
Taxes are R4. And so if they write back half the tax, diesel prices should fall by about R3 a litre. That would be my guess. Yeah. So listen, I know diesel prices are sky high, and that might be sort of cold comfort, but at least that's then starting to move in the right direction. And if oil prices really start, dip below $90 a barrel, we should then see another write back. Even with the tax being written back. I would doubt whether we would see further increases in fuel prices. I mean, hopefully we've passed the hump of it.
Yes, yeah. Michael, looking a bit further out, I mean, obviously the big concern with an oil shock is, those of us who've been alive that long remember the 70s, 80s where inflation was...
You remember the 70s, Robin? Well done.
Yeah, I do actually, Michael. I was born 69, so I do remember the 70s. I had 10 years in them, roughly. People remember inflation double digit. We were 15% inflation for a long time. Yeah, that's what scared everyone. But the kind of peak that guys are projecting is not... It's not even getting to double digits, is it?
No, Robin, I don't. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't even think the inflation spike is going to be as bad as the post-COVID spike. And we're certainly not looking at a cycle where interest rates are rising rapidly again. And generally, it's relatively well contained. I mean, if we go if oil prices are back in the 80s, from next month, which there's a chance that it could be, then we should start to see central banks looking through this, and then there will be a hump now, and it might take 6 months for it to sort of moderate. But you'd look forward and you say, well, yes, because I suppose the longer that fuel prices stay higher, the more you get entrenched second round effects. So everybody starts putting their prices up, and the other thing that we have to really take cognizance of for us is food inflation. There's obviously a lot of predictions around a serious El Nino event coming, which typically tends to lead to dry conditions. For us, the last thing we need is a drought going into sort of the third and fourth quarters and into the next year. So I think the Reserve Bank's also a little bit concerned around food inflation. I think the foot and mouth crisis is also impacting that. So it's not just about oil, but what you don't want is those price increases to become embedded, and then suddenly you have inflation at 5-6% again instead of the 3.5 or 4% again.
Yes.
And then it's so much harder to bring it down again. But if the fuel price spike is relatively short-lived, then I think people can look through that. So we're in a bit of a crucial stage. We've sort of written an intuition, and we'll be discussing it in our presentation that's coming up in the next sort of week or so. But even if the war's over, it's unlikely that oil prices will moderate very, very quickly, because you've got higher demand in the northern hemisphere coming into summer. You've had a big drawdown on stocks. Ships are in the wrong place, Robin. The ships are not in the right place to move the oil around. It might take sort of 45 to 60 days to get the ships back to where they need to be to start moving oil. So, and you'd have to start rebuilding stocks and things as well. So, I anticipate that there would be a very immediate reaction on the oil price when the war's over. But then you might actually find the oil price actually just ticks up a little bit.
Strong demand.
Because of demand and restocking and logistics. It's complicated. It's not just a simple case of everything's back to normal. But then you'd look into 2027 and oil prices should almost collapse again, back to $60, because there would be oversupply. And then we should be having a very big disinflationary pulse coming through next year.
So, and I mean, I guess the perverse thing might be that looking through this, if the pain of this kills demand, then that can impact GDP growth. It really kills demand for a lot of things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I mean, the next sort of 3 to 4 months still could be quite tough. Even from a consumer point of view, even if there's some relief at the pump a little bit, high interest rates doesn't help. And I think what this war has again done is create a lot of uncertainty. So whether people have just delayed investment decisions, or businesses are like, let's just see how things pan out. That's the kind of thing that you don't really need. I mean, we talk a lot about the momentum that's building in this economy. But again, you just feel that we've hit the brake a little bit, and now you have to...
We've hit a Joburg pothole.
Yeah, and we're still coming out the other side.
Exactly.
But, you've got to kind of build up that momentum. You don't go from first gear to fifth gear. You just got to gradually build up again. So it's a little bit frustrating, but I mean, by and large, it's not as bad as it could have been. I think that's maybe the silver lining here.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's good to be back in front of the camera with you again, Michael. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us next time. Bye-bye.